When people come in my house, and I want to take a minute and talk about my house, I am the son of a janitor. My father was a janitor who started a business with a mop and a bucket. My mother was a school teacher. He started a business with a mop and a bucket and ended up with 52 employees. My mother was a school teacher who dabbled in real estate. Neither my father nor my mother modeled to me one-dimensional thinking. Both of them went against the odds back in the 60s in America, where black people couldn't hardly own anything. My father owned his own business, started his own company. My mother was a teacher, but she did not allow people to put a period where God had put a comma. My mother ended up owning so much real estate that she was collecting rent when she was too old to remember that she owned property. So the idea of an innovative, smart, bright black woman is not new to me. I was raised by one. Celebration to my sisters for taking your rightful place, for moving into your positions of power, for understanding who you are and appreciating your own work, to stand shoulder to shoulder with men. Because a strong man is not intimidated by a strong woman. We do have to work to make our men stronger, but it is very, very important that we understand that this is a tremendous hour for us to have these kinds of conversations. And the reason that I started talking about my dad was this reason. When I was a little boy, what we would do on Sundays for entertainment was drive through nice neighborhoods. We would look at beautiful homes that my father shampooed the rugs in or cleaned the drapes in, and he would tell us about what was inside. We couldn't go inside. I was just a little boy sitting in the back seat of a hot car with no air conditioning, listening at 1960s music like the Beatles. Sweating from the top of my head down to the bottom of my feet. Maybe that's why I sweat now when I preach. I started sweating when I was a baby. But I can remember just barely being tall enough to look above the window to see outside at the houses my father was pointing at. And I imagined what success would look like in my color. I had never seen success with anybody who looked like me. In the country I grew up in, that was a foreign idea. When I grew up and I started my business, I told them last night, I started TDJ Enterprises before I started the Potter's House. It's just that you see me in one dimension. I never saw me in one dimension. Do not allow people to lock you up in one dimension and stop your creativity. You have the right as a human being to do every creative thing that God placed inside of you and do it to the limit and let them understand it later.